Arts and artists have a direct impact on the economy of a community, and we've discovered that is true in both urban and rural areas all across Wisconsin. But they also animate a community. I think the arts community has to get out of a defensive posture and assert the central role that they play in a community and a state's economy in the 21st century. We actually have data-driven arguments now, which is very convincing for those who make decisions, whether it be foundations or state government, that we can actually measure the economic impact of artists and arts organizations and creative industries on a state's economy. And so we can argue that this is a smart investment for us, and it is something that is actually essential if we're going to have a thriving economy. So I find that if we want to have young people, the bright young people that are the magnets for companies that are really going to thrive in a creative knowledge-based economy, then they're looking for communities that are animated and exciting, where ideas are moving and flowing freely, and where there is a lot of creative expression that keeps their own juices flowing. So the arts are critical to that picture, and there's data that demonstrates, and we can show that in Wisconsin, a conservative estimate of the impact of nonprofit arts organizations is $500 billion a year in economic activity generated, employing 15,000 people. If you add on creative industries and the 11, 12, 15,000, I can't remember, something in that area of creative industries that are also employing a lot of people, then we can see that there's no future without getting this right. This is just a smart investment.
I mean, there's so many different ways that the arts can change the way someone's thinking about a question they have, and there have been some actually very concrete examples of artists and scientists hooking up and completely, each of them transforming their own work. Those scientists who have learned how to collaborate with artists have a much more comprehensive way of presenting their work to diverse audiences, of organizing their presentations, and of using visuals to look at their data and to present their data. So that's, I would say, the less inspired piece. It's more pedestrian, but still really valuable. And then the more inspired pieces are where you see something and it causes you to look at your work through a whole different lens. So, you know, the scientists going in there really get that. But those scientists who have figured that out and who have worked with an artist who have had that opportunity, universally will say how it's transformed the way they think about making presentations and think about their data. But then it's also taken them up a level to how they look at their data differently and can see new patterns and new answers in information that they otherwise would not have seen. But the next level, and something that I think is much more serendipitous but really powerful when it happens, is when an artist and a scientist get together and transform each other's work and their own work. So there's an example at the University of Pennsylvania of an architect and a cell biologist who have started collaborating, and they got together just through a chance encounter. But the architect has discovered all these new forms and shapes in 3 dimensions, and how space filling, she can use different kinds of structures in space filling because of looking at cells and how they are structured. And the cell biologist has started thinking about cells in 3-dimensional space in ways that he wouldn't have by virtue of his interaction with the architect. And then together they formed this new thing called Lab Studio, where they've got students playing in both realms, and they're publishing in their own fields, they're publishing in new fields. So that's, I think, to me, the apotheosis of how art and science can work together, is to take each practitioner to a whole new level. One of our strong goals is education and access, and making the whole scientific enterprise much more accessible to everyone. And art is a very important way of doing that. There are a lot of people who are afraid of science, but who, of course, respond to art and have that as a way in, and that's one of our objectives. And in this competition with this water sculpture, this sculpture in the water features, that's one of the things we want to have happen, that people can come and look, because everybody's drawn to water. And as you're drawn to water and you're looking at, you're thinking about, you all of a sudden see something that helps you understand an important principle of the science going on at the institutes. For example, we might have a call for expressions around the concept of symbiosis or something like that, or infection, or synthetic biology, and to see how that inspires people from a range of performance to sculpture to 2-dimensional art, music, all of those kinds of things. The space is certainly set up to encourage all of those dimensions of activity.